Laura, who do you play in this film?
In Jurassic Park, I play Dr. Ellie Sattler, who is a paleobotanist, which is an offshoot of paleontology, and she and her boyfriend, Alan Grant, work at a dig site in Montana and are asked to come to Jurassic Park to sign off on the park. And she's a very human, I hope, strong-willed young woman who is appropriately courageous in the film, and I think cares a great deal about preserving and protecting not just people around her that she cares about, but the planet as a whole, which I've learned paleobotanists care a great deal about, protecting the environment. I think my original decision to doing this film was meeting Steven Spielberg, talking to him about the movie, and wanting to work with him, wanting to be in a different kind of movie than I've ever been in and probably will ever be in. It's pretty original and unusual, especially compared to the kinds of films that I've done in the past. And I think to have an adventure, which I did, that's for sure. I loved working with Steven. He's very much like a little boy. He gets extremely excited about the fact that he's creating something no one thought they could ever see, no one thought they could ever imagine. And he loves actors. He's hilariously funny, and we got along very well. I mean, I think that's part of it. It's one thing to admire a filmmaker, but if you're not compatible, it could be difficult. But we get on very well. Now, this is for European television, so I can actually say what I feel, because sometimes the Americans don't understand David as well as the Europeans. I think Steven and David are both hilarious, twisted, wild filmmakers, and Steven just isn't seen that way. But in some ways, Steven and David are both two of the most courageous filmmakers that we have, and in some ways, I believe, national treasures, because David and Steven both create their vision, and they will not be influenced by what other people want them to do. If Steven wants to create something from another world, like in Close Encounters or E.T., or if he wants to bring dinosaurs to life, he does it. And if David wants to go into the underworld of America, which people refuse to acknowledge or see, David's going to do it, whether people like it or not. And I think that's what makes a true filmmaker. That's what excites me about filmmaking. In some ways, I think director and character are the two most important things. I mean, I wouldn't work with a director if I didn't like the script and the character, and vice versa. I mean, I think that I have to do a film that, when I read it, is the truth to me. That somehow it's the truth, or the character is honest, and that the filmmaker wants to reveal authenticity and honesty in movies, even if it's with illusion surrounding it, because I'm a big fan of that. Well, I feel very fortunate to say there's no usually anymore for me. If you and I had met when I was 18, I would have told you just after I'd done Blue Velvet and a film called Mask, Smooth Talk, that I played innocent girls, that I was often offered the girl next door parts, the very sweet, angelic roles. But after Wild at Heart and Rambling Rose, both there was a lot more sexuality involved. I did a film which was a political movie, actually called, I think, The Shadow Makers in Europe. It's Fat Man and Little Boy in America. And, so at some point people say, oh, she's politically active, let's send her political scripts. And then it's Wild at Heart, let's send her sex siren roles. So I don't know if now I'm going to get a series of action adventures where there's always some bizarre creature standing next to me. But I feel lucky that now the scripts run a wide range of character and complexity and everything, which I think is good. I like to keep everybody guessing, and myself, and my therapist. Anyway, that's another story. It's pretty amazing. You know, I expected it to be frustrating, long, and at times boring, and that I would sit there going, why did I do this movie? Which Stephen really prepared me for. But the amazing technology that's been created by Stan Winston, Michael Lantieri, and the men at ILM, including Dennis Muren, was so brilliant that that there was always a dinosaur there for me, and it looked as real, and it felt, the skin texture, everything was as real as you would imagine it being in real life. So I felt that was really, really lucky. I like that you noticed that. I guess in some ways, yeah. I mean, everybody has their own heroic moment, I think, which is kind of nice. But they're definitely smart, and they're definitely, you know, both female characters happen to do something at the right moment, that's for sure. Oh, cry! Wow. Well, I screamed quite a bit, and crying, I don't think I did that much compared to my other movies. To me, it seems non-existent, my tears, because in most of my other movies, I cry for 10 weeks and they're rolling the camera. My characters always seem in a great deal of angst. So very little to me. No, I think that I have to fall in love with something, and I'm certainly not afraid of mainstream. I know some interviewers have said to me, well, you know, you chose these little movies, and now you've chosen this big movie. I choose, like we discussed, you know, a filmmaker and a role, and I will be always as proud of a film as like Rambling Rose or my films with David as I would this film, because they're extraordinary characters, and sometimes intimate, wonderful films are not huge box office success. I mean, as we've seen in Spain, Almodovar, who's one of my favorite filmmakers, who I'd love to be in a film of his, you know, isn't Spielberg, but he's just as brilliant in a completely different way, just like David, just like, you know, anyone who's a visionary. Some movies make lots of money and everyone in the world sees them, and some are smaller. So as an actor, I don't make choices based on how widely seen they are, but on what moves me, what excites me. I would like to, well, I can't wait to work with my dad. I think he's a brilliant actor, and I would be thrilled to do a film with him. And I would say if we did a film together, unlike The Obvious, which would be a nice, simple father-daughter drama, I'd like to do a mainstream buddy movie. But it'd be me and my dad instead of I don't know, Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. I think that'd be much more hilarious. But have someone like Almodovar or Robert Altman or David Lynch direct it. I think that'd be a real good combination. Well, everyone's going to have their own opinion, that's for sure. But I think anyone's a genius who creates illusion and makes us believe it, and suspends all our thoughts and our nature and our experience for 2 hours in a movie theater and makes us become part of what they've given us. And he's certainly done that several times, and most people are called geniuses if they can do it once. So I think I've said my opinion. You know, I think he's absolutely brilliant. I don't mind talking about it. I really have nothing to say except, isn't life strange? Just as any of us would say. It's a strange world. David Lynch said it first. Well, I love Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I think that if ever there was a simple person who somehow became a hero that was a woman, I would be thrilled to play the part. Because I think we need more real heroes for people to fall in love with that are human as opposed to superheroes. Yes, I just finished directing a short film which I co-wrote with a wonderful writer named Emily Tracy, and it stars Mary Steenburgen, my mom, Diane Ladd, Mary Kay Place, Bonnie Bedelia, and Isabella Rossellini. And we had the best time ever. I loved it. I hope to do it again soon.